It's not really. Oh, you know, we've done it all so far. We've gone 10 through 7. 4 players have been ranked. Now I think is when things start getting a little bit controversial, if I do say so myself. So I'm just saying in advance that ranking these next 3 players, I really struggled with putting them in the order I did and justifying the reasons as to why I put them in the order I did. And it was, as I said, it was tough to specifically rank these next 3 players because I feel like we all know what they're capable of, and we all know the extremely high skill ceilings that they have. However, I've put them in the order they have. I put them in the order I have put them in purely because of the performances they had shown in 2020. I think if I made this video a year ago, the rankings would have been completely different. I think this player would have been a lot higher up the list. I think this player, when he's feeling it, he's arguably top 3, top 2 in the country. I think he can really show up on his day and really cause the enemy team problems. However, as I said, the reason as to why I've put this player as number 6 is purely because of the performances throughout 2020 and the run that this player and his team have shown. And again, it's tough because knowing this player, knowing the results he can put up and the numbers he can put up on the scoreboard, it was really tough putting him not necessarily this low on the list, but putting him at 6th place because I know he can be a lot higher, and I know, as I said, that if I recorded this video 12 months ago, he would have genuinely been in a completely different position. But without further ado, the controversy can begin, and the disagreements can start to come in, as I have put Adam in number 6, and the reason being is again because of the performances throughout 2020. I think Goliath pretty much couldn't really come over the hump of ATK. I'm pretty sure that was the theme of the whole year. I know that that's the narrative that has been pushed throughout the whole year, which is unfortunate, just because of the era that ATK had over South African Counter-Strike. But I think this player, as I said, if this video was to be done for 2019, he would have been in the top 2 conversation, or maybe even the best player in the country, just because of the extremely high skill ceiling that he has. But looking back on 2020 and the results that Goliath went through and the positioning that they had throughout various tournaments, I think that 6 is fitting for Adam, just because we know what he can do, and I think this year was sort of last year, rather 2020 was a year where you show that people dip in and out of form, and I think Adam showed that throughout 2020. I don't think he performed as well as he could have. I don't think Goliath performed as well as they could have. But I think it's tough considering the larger sample size that you have on HLTV and other things, getting to more finals and coming up against better opponents, that the stats may be skewed in a little bit. But I think that Adam, actually throughout 6th to 4th place, I struggled to put the players in the order I put them in. But I think 6th place is a position where Adam fits in a way. I think Adam underperformed to his standards in 2020. However, I think in 2021 we're going to see the Adam of 2019, where he's going to be a different beast. He's going to be performing at the top of his game, and I think he's definitely going to be scary to put up numbers in the server. But I don't want to take away from his performances in 2020. He still performed really, really well. However, I just don't think that it's justified that he gets put above the next 2 players just because of his 2020 performance. However, as an overall player, and as the previous years have shown, that ADM has definitely got the ability to really climb up the rankings and be in the top 1, top 2, top 3 conversation of players in the country. So I think throughout the year, we all know ATK pretty much wiped the floor with everyone. Goliath was arguably 2nd, Energy arguably 3rd, and Dynamic arguably in the 4th place. So overall, Goliath 2nd at Eve Sports. ESEA, they weren't able to make it to the final, getting knocked out by ESEA Open Season 35, that is, getting knocked out by Energy. And they actually got knocked out by by dynamic in the lower bracket of Telkom VS Gaming Masters. So I think overall it was pretty underwhelming year for Goliath. Rather, I think ADM as well will agree that he didn't perform as well as he's shown in the recent past. So this is just one of the games that he had against the NMK in the upper bracket of the EGL1, and he performed really well. And this seems to be the Adam of 2019, where he's putting up good numbers. He's dropped the reins of RGL. He's picked up the rifle more often, and he's really put up good numbers. But the game we're going to specifically look at is going to be this T-side Inferno showing against ATK in the upper bracket final of Telkom VS Gaming Masters 2020, where we've seen what Adam can do. He can take rounds by the scruff of the neck, get opening frags, get important multi-kills to win rounds, and ultimately put up really good results for Goliath. But I think the ultimate narrative throughout the whole year was that Goliath didn't really perform, or didn't really get to the heights that they would have wanted to. They didn't take down ATK pretty much in the latter stages of 2020, and I think 2021 rather, is going to be a bit of a different situation, considering it's a new Goliath roster. ADM is one of the players who's changed roles a little bit. He's no longer the RGL, to my knowledge. He's picking up the rifle more often. He's dropping the AWP, and I think he's definitely becoming a bit of a different beast, if you will, to deal with in 2021 in the coming future. But again, I think this is probably the start of a bit of a controversial pick. I think you could easily make an argument for why he should be further up the list. And as I said, I really struggled ranking players 6 through 4. I really did, in all honesty. I think each player you can make an argument for being above the other one or below the other one, and I think ADM throughout 2020 still showed that he's still a top player, still able to put up good numbers. However, it just wasn't the ADM we saw in 2019, and I think in 2021, as I said, we could honestly see a different beast, a different ADM in the server, and a scary one at that. But this is going to be one of the games from Telkom VS Gaming Masters, the upper brackets, against ATK. 17-5 showing on the T side, where he picked up the AWP often. He took the fights too slow. He won a couple duels against him, and he's definitely a beast in the server. And anyone who knows South African Counter-Strike knows that ADM is definitely in the conversation for the best player in the country. I just think over the course of 2020 that I think his form wasn't really quite up to scratch. He's probably one of the players who puts the most hours into the game, countless demos, works extremely hard for the team, and I think teams can definitely reap the rewards of that. And I think Goliath, throughout the whole of 2020, unfortunately, as I said, they just weren't able to overcome ATK. But I think ADM throughout 2021, I think he's going to be a different beast in this new Goliath roster with Elusive and Dweezil. I think he's going to be able to put up absolutely unreal numbers. And I think when I look back on this video at the end of 2021, I think he's definitely going to be up the list. I think he's definitely got what it takes. We saw throughout 2019 just the absolute unreal numbers that he can put up, the absolute unreal performances that he can put up, and how he can literally, if he's popping off on a server, he's definitely scary to play against. He's definitely one of those players where he can literally win a game single-handedly. If he's playing B, you don't want to go B, you want to go A. You know, he's definitely a scary player, a scary prospect when he's on form to play against. And I think it was an underwhelming 2020 for him and Goliath as a whole. And I think 2021 is definitely going to be a different beast. But I mean, it's tough putting ADM in this position, because I think he's arguably a top 3 player, regardless of his form, regardless of the results he put up in 2020. So it was tough putting him this low down the list, and I struggled. I really did. I shuffled players around. I was questioning my positioning of multiple players in the list, and I was thinking, how could I put ADM in this position? Why could I put the other players above ADM? Why should I put ADM above the other players, etc., etc.? But I think 6th position is a fair representation of how ADM's year has gone, how Goliath's year has gone pretty much as a whole. And I think, as I said, it was really, really tough, in all honesty, to put him this, not necessarily low on the list, but to put him below the top three, because I definitely think he is a top three player. However, just in 2020, the results and the form just wasn't there to justify him being a top three player, if that makes sense. So again, you guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. I was caught in two minds. Should I put him fifth? Should I put him fourth? But I ultimately just came to the conclusion that the other players above him just had better years overall. Just had better performances throughout the different tournaments that they played, throughout the postseason of ESCA, throughout EVE Sports, throughout Telkom VS Gaming Masters, throughout Medal States. I just found that the other players that were above him overall just had a better 2020, and that's why that they're in the positions that they are. However, as I said, more than welcome to disagree. I think maybe after releasing this, I'll disagree with myself, maybe with a little bit of doubt. And as I said, I think it was tough. It was really, really tough putting him in the position that I put him in. I think he's got an extremely good CS IQ, extremely good aim on him, extremely good rifle, and an extremely good AWP. I think it's definitely interesting to see how Goliath are gonna operate with ADM not on the AWP, picking up the rifle a lot more often, and I think they're still going to be extremely scary when it comes to 2021. But this demo was specifically from the upper bracket of the Telkom VS Gaming Masters 2020 against ATK. This was an extremely close game. This was a best of 3 in the upper bracket. ATK won it out 2-0. However, Goliath had an extremely strong start to the T side of Inferno. The match finished 16-14, and I believe Goliath were 11-4 up, I want to say. Maybe 10-5, but I think they were 11-4. We'll find out at the end of this half, but I think Goliath showed up in this upper brackets. I think they showed what they're capable of. They showed the ability in the server. They showed why they shouldn't be underestimated. And I think ADM was one of the players that reaped the rewards of that performance. So it's going to be a 1v3. He's in apps. The bomb's not really planted for him. He's got to do a lot of work. He gets the first onto Blaze. He knows the bomb's been tapped. He needs to win out this gunfight relatively quickly. He does so. 3 bullets left. Easy as you like. ADM. 6th player. Apparently. I'm having doubts in my own gut, you know? I'm having doubts myself putting him in this position, which sounds bad. Oh, I shouldn't have. That was a nice win onto Slowy. I shouldn't have fast forwarded that fast. My bad. I've got a bad gut feeling that I put ADM too low. In all honesty, like I know I've taken probably a bit longer than I should have to go through all the stats, to go through all the games, etc., of the different positionings of the players, and I just think, it's questionable to say the least. I think you can make an argument, as I said, to put ADM high up the list, and I think you can make an argument to put the other players above ADM, the other players being the players that I'm going to put 5 and 4th, which you'll see in the coming days. But yeah, we got ADM with the AWP, finally. I think he's definitely a scary AWPer to come up against. To my knowledge, he's not going to pick up the AWP that often in the new Goliath roster of 2021 with Elusive and Dweezil. I believe he's going to be on the rifle a lot more often, but even then, he's a more than capable rifler. Great shot there onto Doru, great readjustments, and even another one onto Blaze. 3 kills in the round, easy as you like. I think he's a scary AWPer. You can definitely open up rounds, take aggressive picks, but very smartly at that. I think he's got an extremely good CS IQ. Probably one of the smartest in South Africa, just in terms of CS in general. I think he's an extremely strong player overall. Good rifle on him, good AWP on him. I think he can second AWP, he can primary AWP, he can pretty much fulfill whatever role in the team he has to fulfill. In this Goliath team, he was... we saw that player run down. They've disappeared, okay. Maybe he's gone Mexico. I think ADM can... He did go Mexico. Okay. Slowly was traded out by Zip at least. I think ADM can definitely fulfill any role in the team that he has to. And I think he puts in so many hours into the game that he really reaps the rewards of it, and he's a top player. And I think in 2021 we're definitely going to see more of the ADM of 2019, where he was genuinely one of the best players in the country, one of the best players in the scene, showed it overseas when he performed overseas, and performed at the at the top of his game. And that was a scary ADM to come up against. And I think 2021 is definitely going to be an exciting year, and ADM will be able to make pretty much 2021 whatever he wants to make it. I think he can definitely perform at the top of his game under the reins of Elusive and the experience that he has and the experience ADM has gained over this past year, especially 2019 as well. I think ADM is going to be an exciting prospect. I say prospect as if nobody knows about him and if he's like a sort of wild card, but I think he'll be able to put up extremely strong and consistent performances throughout 2021, and he's definitely going to be higher up this list when the top 10 or top 20 of 2021 comes around. I think he's absolutely phenomenal player overall, and he showed it pretty much in a nutshell this game. The reason why I've chosen the T side in particular is not only just because of his performance. He had a 17-5 half, which is good. It is really, really good, especially against a team like ATK. I think ADM just shows his CSIQ on the T side. He really picks and chooses his battles, shows how he wants to play around the AWP, how he uses his utility pretty much effectively, and he really shows his CSIQ on the T side. I think how he chooses, again, to pick his battles and how he can get the opening pick in a round for his team and open up bomb sites pretty much on his lonesome, which is an extremely strong asset that Goliath have. And I think he's a top player. I still got this weird gut feeling that I've robbed him. In all honesty, I've got this bad gut feeling that I've robbed him. He should be higher up the list, but it's tough. It's really tough because there's these other players above him, which yeah, got a bad feeling about this. I mean, in this round, he's patrolling Banana on his own. He's got the full control of this completely on his own. Banana is going to be smoked off with 40 seconds left. 4v4. There's actually a player creeping through CT. That's Massacre. Okay. He's gone back towards Arch. But Goliath looked like going to group towards B. Massacre's completely cut off the rotate, so he's got one actually, and they're still going to go B, I think. They're still not gonna hardtail it back towards their bomb sites. Ooh, a missed shots over towards that player, towards Coffin. CT smoke, flash in response from that Coffin player, so now they're gonna hit the bomb site. And ADM's job here is just to play Overwatch, try to help his teammate trying to enter the bomb site, but unfortunately a couple missed AWP shots means that he's gonna fall from behind. And in that position, he's got the AWP. He can't really be running into the bomb site, creating space for his team. His job there is just to Overwatch, and the players that are going to take the duels, he's got to take down. So he spots a player over towards top Banana. He's not going to be able to win that gunfight out due to the utility that ATK are going to throw in. So he's just going to fall back and hold this Banana angle. Actually, Molly. Ooh, Slowy just pushes so aggressive. Slowy just pushes down so aggressively with that AWP, and that's one thing about Slowy. I think that's the two differences between Slowy and ADM. Both very, very capable AWPers, but I think probably the difference between the two is you could probably compare one to a sort of simple and one to a device where, okay, he's through the molly. I don't think ATK know. Oof. And there's the B bomb site. And there's the B bomb site. Oh, that's phenomenal. I think the reason why I make that comparison is I think the way people compare Slowy and not Slowy, the way people compare device and simple is if you want to learn how to warp, you watch device demos. You don't watch simple demos, even though he's arguably the best player in the world. You watch device demos just because the way he positions himself, the gunfights he picks and chooses are smarter, if you will, than simple. And I think that's the same sort of way you can put Slowy and ADM. Is I think if you were to watch ADM AWP, I think you get more out of an ADM demo than you would out of a Slowy demo, just because I don't think ADM's as straight up aggressive as Slowy is. I think he not necessarily plays smarter, but I think he picks his gunfights better, and he has a high impact in the round without necessarily falling straight after his death. He may choose to play out 5v4s instead of, for example, get 1 kill or 2 kills and lose his life. I think overall, ADM, he has a longer lifespan, if you will, than Slowy, I think, which is a weird comparison, but I think it's a fair one to make. But 7-2 up, Goliath have showed their performance against ATK and on the T side of Inferno, and throughout the whole year, ATK and Goliath, it was sort of this sort of questionable thing of, in a BO3, do ATK pick Nuke? I mean, not Nuke. Do ATK pick Inferno into Goliath, knowing how good Goliath are on this map? I think Goliath showed an extremely strong Inferno. Why are Karen saying Nuke, bro? Goliath showed a very, very strong Inferno throughout the whole year. They showed that they arguably have the top Inferno in the country until the latter stages of the year where Energy sort of derailed them with the roster change that they experienced. ATK derailed them, especially in this map where Goliath were up so far, and ATK was still able to make some sort of a comeback. But I think it was an interesting narrative throughout the whole of 2020, the sort of Goliath ATK rivalry throughout the whole year. And I think if you look at the danger men of Goliath throughout 2020, it was probably ADM in the top 2 of that list. And I think it was, ADM is definitely a scary player to play against without a doubt. And extremely high CS IQ, as I said. And as I've said multiple times, I think if I made this list 12 months ago, he would have been in a different position. And I think when I make this list in 12 months' time, he'll be in an extremely different position. 4 seconds left in the clock, and Goliath are eventually going to get the bomb down, and now they're going to choose to hunt these ATK players. Believe one's Dora, I'm not sure who the other player is, but bombs down on the A bomb side. Extremely powerful position held by ADM here. He's got brackets, but now his teammates come in. That's Adaro, who's going to gather that information. He's completely locked the CTs into the B bomb sites and CT pretty much. So if Goliath do choose to hunt, that it's pretty much only to that side of the map where the ATK players are going to be. But doesn't look like much is going to be going down. A2, and an extremely strong performance coming out from Goliath. So now it's a bit of a change of pace. There's a couple saved rifles on the side of ATK, and now Goliath are going to change the pace and move really, really quickly. And Molly towards N1, and Kanye has already opened up the arch position. Oh, a great shot onto Fady. Phenomenal shot there. 2 players have fallen over towards the A-bomb sites, and one's fallen over towards Banana. Great shot there from ADM. And he's even legged the play over towards Arch. He's just gonna hunt. He smells blood. He smells blood and he wants it. Ooh, and he's gonna take Muslim down even. And now what Goliath are trying to do, they're trying to just put the foot on the throats of ATK, trying to run them dry of whatever sort of utility, whatever sort of rifle, cavalry they have on the CT side. And that's exactly what they're going to do. 5 alive, and that round was pretty much Kanye and ADM reaping the rewards of the fast aggression. They knew that ATK didn't have fantastic equipment, so they choose to switch up, play a bit of a fast play, and change up the pace a bit. So there's a deep mid smoke. So that smoke is a bit scary, considering usually when you're the CT, you don't want to smoke top mid straight away. So usually delay it a bit. If you do delay it a bit, then obviously it buys time for keeping brackets. But if you do smoke it right off the rip, it opens up a bit of possibilities. That second middle peak. What am I saying? Or sometimes what people like to do is they try to smoke a middle a bit deeper, not like super deep, but a bit down towards the top of brackets, and smoke it a bit deeper and run through it and peek towards second middle from the floor instead of towards apps, which is also really scary. So I think that's what ADM and the Goliath guys were worried about. So he's just going to hold this angle towards Coffin, while his teammates, which I believe is Massacre, is going to post towards CT, which allows ADM probably to walk up here, gives him a bit of free room, which is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to try to find this opening pick. Just going to patrol here with the AWP, and actually just going to leave him towards the B bomb side, which I think is extremely powerful what ADM does. He's extremely good at staying alive, extremely good at getting one pick and getting out, and that's why he's left towards the B bomb side. He's actually going to scope there and then unscope, which is actually going to give the sound cue that there's an AWP towards top B, and he's actually going to flash it as well. But he's going to smoke. I believe that lands between default and graveyard. just between that sort of area, so that the Rap can come in, and he's going to come up lane late. He's going to allow his teammates to take contact first, so that anyone in the site is going to be looking towards there, and then he's going to make sure he's got lane pretty much locked down. And that single AWP scope and flash pretty much took everyone off the the B bomb site. Oh, off the A bomb site rather, towards the B bomb site, and a great late round call coming out from ADM. At this stage, with this Goliath roster at the time, he was the IGL, and he showed his CSIQ, really good mid round calls, and really showed to the top of his ability why he deserves a spot on the top 10 list. 10-2. 10-2. Bro, I still feel bad in a way, because I know ADM, when he's feeling it as a top 2 player or top 3 player, I just have this gut feeling that I've made the wrong decision. But at the same time, I know I've made the right decision in a way. But at the same time, I know I've made the wrong decision, which is rough. Rough out here in the streets. South Africa, you know? It's just where the crumble cookies sometimes, eh? Just the way the crumble cookies. Slowy's going to open up onto Kani. And it's actually going to be zip towards top and middle, trying to get something done. ADM's going to help him out. Actually, they're all just going to group towards B. Try exec this. He's going to throw the God Flash as well as the Coffin Smoke, I would assume. So there's the Flash, God Flash, Flash above CT, and as well as a Coffin Smoke, and a Family Molly. So what he did there, which is a little bit of attention to detail, which I'll explain a bit to see what happens in this round. He's actually going to try entry with this. He entries with the Tech 9. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that he has an AWP on his back. CT Smoke's actually faded. So what he does there, which is a little bit of attention to detail, for some people that don't know, when you see smokes coming in, like, for example, if you use... So the B side of Inferno, for example, you see the CT smoke coming in and the Coffin Smoke coming in, you're like, okay, so when's the flash coming? Then the flash comes, so you can play around it, and then peek after the flash comes. But what ADM actually does is he God flashes first, before he smoked. So if there's an AWP posted Coffin, he's going to be blind. If there's someone Family, if there's someone Fountain, they're all going to be blind. Stuff like that. So he leads with the flash and then smokes afterwards. So that the CTs, it's more of a pounce than an execute, if you will. He flashes first, that he catches the CTs off guard, and then he follows with the smoke afterwards, so that their full execute can come in. Which I think is a little bit of attention to detail, which some teams choose not to do. They choose to smoke the CT smoke and the Coffin Smoke and then flash, which is fine. But I think it gives the CTs a bit of extra time to sort of choose how they're going to play around it. So I think double pumps, or when that comes into account, usually you smoke CT, draw out a bit of util, and then you flash and smoke CT again, which is also something really interesting that teams can do to try catch the CTs off guard. But it's going to be 10-3. And ADM, he's going to choose to flash, smoke, post, one of the above, towards top of middle. Just well, he's got his teammate clearing out apps. That is, who's that over towards apps? I'm not sure. But he's actually just going to choose to regroup completely with his teammates towards upper B. He's going to line up a flash again, I assume, for the God Flash. Which is exactly what he's going to do. There's the flash above CT, and the smoke towards Coffin so that they can hit the bomb side. And finally, the molly towards Family, which is exactly the same util set we saw the last time, which is extremely powerful. And then this is what you got to do as the AWPer. You got to overwatch your teammates. You know, you can't necessarily be running into the side first, taking up the close range duels with the AWP. What you're doing is you're just overwatching them. You're just watching for that push to the Coffin Smoke so that it doesn't give the CT an ability to multi-frag and ultimately allow the CTs an avenue into winning the round. But he's just able to overwatch his teammates, make sure that no shenanigans are happening from the CTs, and a solid execute coming out once more. A CT smoke as well as a Coffin Smoke and flashes to accompany the hits. And this is going to be the 11th round posted for Goliath. So remember, at the end of this, they lost them up 16-14. And I know ATK pride themselves in their T-sides because their T-sides are extremely powerful. It seems like they pretty much never allow their foot to leave the throat of the CTs when they're on the T-side of pretty much any map. And this is exactly what they did to Goliath in this. I think Goliath, either it was 11-4 or 12-3, the T side. I think it was 11-4. But ATK were able to put up a solid comeback, win out the map 16-14. and then go into the second map and win that out, which meant that it was going to be a 2-0 victory. And we know the story after that. Unfortunately, Goliath dropped to DNMK, which was a pretty underwhelming performance from pretty much everyone in Goliath bar one. And then ATK went on to win Telkom VS Gaming Masters, which was pretty much the whole story of 2020. Really was Goliath so close yet so far, and I think we saw that throughout the whole. Ooh, a missed AWP shot towards top middle. He's gonna repost. Okay, Kani gets the opening on towards Blaze, and again this B site's gonna be tested. Fady's taken down Zip towards App, so now they gotta go. Can't miss the timing. Again, the same sort of util set we've seen come out again. And what we saw from ADM throughout the whole time is he's not wasting his utility early in the round. He's not going to flash towards top and middle. But he's actually just going to allow his teammates to get demolished, to say the least, running into the bomb site. Now to 1v3. Oh baby, ADM 1v3. He's going to be trying to find a pick towards CT. But eventually gets found out by Slowy. And that's it. That's a 17-5 half coming out from ADM. And overall, I think, as I said, a pretty underwhelming 2020 from pretty much Goliath as a whole. Pretty underwhelming year from ADM as a single player. But I think if we see the ADM of 2019 in 2021, I think Goliath have definitely got an insane team on their hands, an insane play in ADM, and I think it's going to be an exciting year. Pretty much ADM and Goliath as a whole, if ADM shows this performance he showed in 2019. But as I said, I've still got this sort of doubt in my mind that I've robbed them a bit higher up the rankings, but we'll see. You guys are more than welcome to disagree with me. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, hit the bell icon to know when I go live next. So 3 p.m. every day will be the upload of the next top 20 player, and this is coming at number 6 ADM. Tune in tomorrow for number 5, which will be again at 3 p.m. South African Standard Time. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the flip.